right now. You know, you leave a piece of candy in the heat, it's going to melt to the plastic. We're unraveling that plastic, but it's taking us a while to get that plastic off of that candy. But once you get that candy out of there and you actually pop it in your mouth, that flavor's still there. That flavor is still there.
That boy be coming in with the quotes.
No. You know what I mean?
That boy got the spike.
One thing that's fascinating to me, like truly fascinating to me, is like the level of responsibility on each group. Like there doesn't seem to be like it's like equal responsibility, immediate accountability in the sense that if you guys miss something on the line, it's up to the DBs. But like if the DBs miss anything, like to your point, you got to chase. But like there doesn't seem to be a lot of like infighting necessarily. You know what I mean? Like there's no resentment if the DBs miss wrapping a guy and you get a touchdown because it's like no matter what, it seems to be like equal stakes across the board for you guys.
We're a defense. You know what I mean? We're a team. Where one lacks, the next man's supposed to pick up. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes there's gonna be chunks in the armor that are exposed at times. That's the game of football, man. They get paid just as much as we do. You know?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like you can't really fault your brother for trying to do his job. You know what I mean? It's the next play. Once something is done, it's done. You can't cry over spilled milk for too long.
I look at it like this: like we're just as guilty if we're not there to make the tackle if they miss it.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
So like,
100%.
I mean, it's just like you said. It's just going to be chunks in the army where he may go to swing with a sword and he may actually hit flesh.
Yeah.
That's what happens in a football game. I mean, we just gotta wrap that up and keep moving.
So now,
Keep fighting.
So now on the opposite end of things, the awesome parts of your job that I mentioned to you about. How, like for me filming, one of the most exciting moments is right before I know a sack's about to happen. And I'm seeing that pocket collapse and I'm seeing you guys just converge on a quarterback. How exciting is that in real time for you guys? Like where you're like, oh shit, it's about to happen. Like I got this guy. Like what's that feeling like?
When you got a sack leader next to you, man.
Man.
You are scratching, you are crawling, you are trying to get there as quick as you can, and I love it, man. Like that's the best part of the job, man. Is just trying to fight over a sack, trying to get there before your brother. You like honestly and truly, man. Like when you feel like exactly like you're saying, when you can kind of feel that pocket cross and you can feel all four of us kind of rushing as one. It's like, all right, who's gonna get there first?
That's
you know what I mean?
And it's crazy because it starts from practice, man. Like with Coach Fair, like he has us like doing we're doing get offs, but we're competing to do get offs.
Yeah, we're racing every day.
So we're racing every day.
Every day.
So it's just like now when we put it in real time, it's like we're all racing like get off, like we're just like get off, hurry up. Oh, who got the first get off?
Yeah.
Usually the first person that gets the get off is the one that gets the most pressure.
Yeah.
Right.
Now the quarterback has to move. Because now we like, whoever got the most pressure, that means they the one that got the best get off.
Right.
No, but it's a wicked competition, man. It's
fun, man.
It's like
it's fun.
It's a wicked competition. I wouldn't even say there's like a zen moment, man. It's a competition it's a competition till the quarterback goes down. Honestly and truly, man. Like it's
man.
Like,
and we're happy. We're all happy,
sure.
man. When it happens, like, oh well, yeah, you got the get off. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like it's dope, man. It's dope.
I was gonna say, like, again, outside perspective, it's like seeing you guys how you celebrate a sack as a unit is awesome. Like it's like a very obvious group effort to make that happen. And like as much as I think you guys are saying it's like a competition, it's like I feel like you're all together on this. Like,
I mean, it's a competition working to one goal.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
It's like just who's gonna get the goal first, who's gonna get the answer first.
That's
you know, like we're all rushing as one, really, but it's like who is gonna get there first? You know?
Yeah. So now is that your favorite part of the job? Would you
Getting
say?
sacks?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a feeling over your body, man, when it's just like, I've been working hard as hell to get for this one moment. And this one moment, usually on second and long, it's like, it feels good. I'm the reason why we're off the field.
For sure.
I'm the reason why this just happened. I just helped out my defense. Like, I feel good being a part of this defense, and they loving on me the way I'm loving on myself. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
And it's like I'm hitting myself in the head, but now I got Cleon, I got P-Lev jumping on me and everything, and then they're just congratulating me. Or if he gets a sack, I congratulate him because he's the reason why we're off the field. He's the reason why we just won this game.
And man, the work that, like, just to bring up the work that goes into getting that sack, man, like, the stars have to align. It's not, it's not one thing, man. It's a complication of 2-3 things that have to work out perfectly in order for you to get there. It's the rewarding feeling, man. It's definitely the highlight of why we play football as a defensive lineman, I think.
And I'll say the DBs and everybody that's back there should feel happy just
100%.
because it's their sack.
It's everything, bro.
It's everything on the defense.
Right.
If the DBs are doing their job, that means we have to do ours. If we do ours, that means that they did theirs.
Yeah, you can have your best rush, and it'd be, a quick throw. It's a ball's out in 2 seconds. The rush is
dead
for nothing. You know what I mean?
It's dead.
A lot of things have to go into it.
If he's just sitting in the pocket all day, he has a lot of time to read his receivers and DBs and be able to make a play. And then now the receivers just running around and just making a play out of nothing.
Yeah.
So it works hand in hand.
So now, saying that a sack is like the pinnacle, which I understand, where would you rate something from like the last game where it's the fourth quarter, however much time is it, like a minute, they're in the red zone, and the defense stops? Like that's
a big feeling too.
Like that was.
That's a little bit different.
That's a pride thing.
Yeah.
That's a pride thing.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So explain that, because like I understand what you're saying, but like I felt sick watching that, because you're just like, this is like next to impossible. I'm sure like the stakes are the same for like what are the odds you're gonna get a sack on every play? What are the odds you're gonna stop a team 4 times, 5 times, however many times it was, inside of the 10-yard line with a team as good as them? And it's like, probably not very high, but you come through in spades. Like, what is that like?
Man, I feel like when things like that happen, man, that's not one player. A sack is more so like one player. You get like that one player made that play and got that reward. Obviously, it's bigger than that. It's the back end. It's the other people that he's rushing with. But when you have a goal line stand like that, it's all 12 men that get that attribute. No matter who made the tackle, it's those 12 men that were on that field, because no matter where, like, and when you make a stop like that, there are no kinks in the armor. You know what I'm saying? There are no kinks in the armor.
Indestructible.
That when you make a stop like that over and over, that is team defense, in the biggest word.
That is a unit tackle. That's what we call a unit tackle.
For sure.
Right there.
Yeah.
That's a unit tackle, because, again, all 12 men are working in unison to stop one person. To stop one person, and that's the QB.
Or whoever has the ball.
Or whoever has the ball. Usually it's the QB sneaking. But yeah, I say as men, we're proud to say that we've done that, because there's no other team in the league that can, and that has already.
Yeah.
We've done that, and we can say we've done that, and we're going to continue to do that. But that probably was one of the highest peaks of the game
for
for
sure.
us.
Just be able to give our team an opportunity to just spin it around and keep fighting back. I think that was a big pride moment for our defense. Is just knowing that we did what we could to give our team another fighting chance and to give our team an opportunity to try and win that game.
Right.
I think that's definitely something that, as our defense, we've kind of held true and continue to, no matter what the situations or whatever predicament we find ourselves in. I think we've always had that that core group of guys that have the mentality and kind of have spread that mentality throughout the locker room or the defensive side for sure, where it's like, no matter what, man, we're still going to fight. We're still going to grind. And like, the game's not over until it's over, and even when it's over, we still might try and fight. So it's like,
Say
for
long
real,
story
it's
short,
just, yeah.
long story short, we knew what we had to do.
Yeah, 100%. And it really didn't matter what the outcome was. We were going to try and do it.
We knew what we had to do.
For sure.
Well, even you mentioning, it's like you've done it before. It was against Montreal, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The last time we played Montreal at home, in that end of the field, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Same kind of situation, where it was like a full series, almost on the goal line, D shut them down.
Yeah.
It's a huge feather in your cap. I mean, I honestly, like, that last game had so many like pops with the crowd that were awesome. I think we played a really strong game, super competitive game. But moments like that, where the bench pops as hard as the crowd, and like everyone understands what was on the line, no pun intended. That's gotta feel like insanely special, I would imagine.
Yeah, definitely. It would feel a lot more special if we got a dub out of it. But
Yeah, they get.
I think those moments kind of go forgotten about.
The big thing about that is, man, while we're playing, I'll give you a perspective from us being out there and actually hearing the crowd, hearing the sideline. Like, we're not just doing this for nothing.
Mm.
Yeah.
We need you as the fans to get in the offense's head, get in this O-lineman's head, because they're already scared of us. So why not get in their heads, make them jump off sides, give us the momentum, and that's what they were doing. That's what they were doing. They were giving, and then they're boosting our morale. They're boosting our adrenaline. We're already revved up on adrenaline already,
Sure.
and now we hear that our fans are with us too, and they want something to happen on this play. My bull rush, my speed, Cleon's power, like, heightened.
Yeah, for sure. No, it definitely
Heightened.
gives you the juice, man. Definitely gives you the juice.
Heightened. Now we get that sensation that we have. Now the pocket is collapsed. We know a guy like Trevor Harris is not about to move. Or Trey, his sack right before the half. Crowd was with us.
Yeah.
We all got power. We all got pushed. Where did Trevor try to go? Outside, and Trey grabbed him right there. That feeling is unreal. Like, it's like a drug, really, to be honest. Because again, it gives us more adrenaline. Drug test me after the game. if that's what we gonna get every week.
Now, you mentioned something that we spoke about off camera that I loved, was like making the O-lineman insecure. Like, once you get one by them, they're gonna be thinking about you the whole
For
game.
sure.
Like, I'd love for you guys to kind of dive into that psychology, because like that's fascinating to me. Because yeah, like if I'm, like we talked about, you jump off sides. It's like if I miss a shot in a game, like if I'm filming you guys and I miss something, that shit will eat me up for months, and it's all I'm gonna think about the rest of my night. 100%. And it's gonna be like, what led to making that mistake? How do I make sure I don't do that in the next 60 minutes of this game? Because I need to be on point. If you beat me on a rush and you get to my quarterback, I mean, no one sees what I'm doing, and I understand like the pressure that's on me to do my job properly. If you get a sack and it's this guy's fault, his night's over. He's in his head all night long. Like, how much do you capitalize off that? How much do you feed off of that?
Definitely, man. When you catch an O-lineman slipping and you know that you're in their head, it makes the game a lot easier. That's without question. I think go to a relation, somebody's walking past you, and every time this person walks past you, punch you in the face, you're gonna want to be a little bit timid when you walk past them, right?
Yeah.
It just changes your nature. And I think, there's been games where we've been able to be that group where we've been able to go out, and off rip, we already knew these offensive linemen didn't want any problems with any of us. And it's pretty easy to see those situations. But yeah, no, I mean, D-line is just as much a mental game as it is a physical game. You can, there's plays that you can influence somebody into thinking you're going one way and the whole time you're going somewhere else. There's different alignments. There's different ways that you can, put your weight.
And the weapons you can use, like, it's just, again, Cleon's power. Like, it's just, he has a finesse to him. Like, where he thinks he'll go power and then he'll pull out and finesse the hell out of your ass. I can go in, most people think that, I'm just a bruiser. I'll go in and speed, the power, blah, blah, blah. But I'll give you finesse and I'll give you speed, and you won't expect it.
For sure.
Now, are you switching it up as you go? Or is it when you find something successful and no one has an answer for it, you just kind of like, all right.
So the thing is, like he said, it's just as mental as physical. Yeah. It's probably more mental than physical. It's probably like the 70-30 situation, but then it's like, if you go in with one move, why keep going in with the same move? You shouldn't go in with the same move. Why? Because now this guy is going to be able to anchor down. Say if I go in the bull rush every play, first off, I'm taxing myself. Yeah. Second of all, this guy knows I'm about to bull rush the entire time, so he knows to anchor down. That's what they're taught. They're taught to anchor down every time. This guy lifts weights too.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
And usually one complements the other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You use power and you get one to sit down, and then you can work your edge. You can use their power, use their strength against them, using some speed, working some edges.
You want to sit, I can snatch
you. Exactly, the same breath, you want to use speed, catch them on their toes, or catch them on their heels. They're kicking back. Now you put a hand on them. That power is just way more effective because you're using what they're using against them, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So it's, like I said, it's a huge mental game as much as it is physical.
And
it's just understanding
and as I said before,
when to apply those different methods or those tools.
The whole thing is they're doing the same thing that we're doing. We're studying them just like they're studying us. So that, again, it's a mental game for them as well. So again, I say if I go against a savvy guy, this guy knows, this guy's about to bull rush, or this guy's about to give me speed. Now this guy can shoot his hands any type of way, and I don't know what the hell to do, so now I'm slowing up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm like, because on film, this guy looks like he's a heavy puncher. But against me, he feels like he's a little threatened on the edge. He's not going to heavy punch me. He's going to be patient.
Yeah, for sure. And usually whatever you beat him with, you have to keep in mind, whatever you just beat him with and you got a sack on him with, he's going back to the sideline, and his coach is saying, don't let 94 do this to you again. Protect the inside. If you beat the man to the inside, and now you think about it, if he's thinking, okay, I got to protect this inside, well, now the outside's a little bit more open. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean?
So it's really hand in hand.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's like a very violent version of like rock, paper, scissors.
Yes.
Where you're like predicting, it's like, all right, you just went
that's a perfect.
You're gonna go rock,
That is a perfect,
which means you'll probably go scissors, so I'm gonna go scissors, and it's like
perfect comparison.
Yeah,
for sure.
that's fascinating. Mm-hmm. So, do you guys each, doesn't have to be the same game, like, do you guys each have a game where you feel like you performed your best, where like everything just worked, either as a unit or individually?
Yeah, Sask. But as a I mean, because when it came to, because that was supposed to be a 3-sack game for me, but of course we didn't win. But then it's like our defense was clicking that game.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's not the game that they didn't score in the second half.
Oh, they definitely scored the second half. That was the game that Sully got hurt.
True. But I feel like our defense was clicking.
That was Toronto. They didn't play the second half.
Our defense was clicking.
Oh, is that where you're talking Toronto in Toronto?
Yeah.
Fumble recovery. Yeah.
Our defense was we were on point.
Yeah.
Like I felt like as a unit we were like clicking on all cylinders. We were getting sacks. We were getting pressures.
But it's weird. I mean,
Andrew
you always
Harris.
say like the talk in football is always it starts up front, man.
Yeah.
So usually the games that the defensive line really kind of took over the game is usually games where, like, not to humble ourselves a little bit, but like it usually starts in, the defensive line, the offensive line is kind of the heartbeat of any team. So when you know, the offensive line is kicking a defensive line's ass all day and tomorrow. Usually the run game's there. Usually the pass game's there. You know what I mean? Usually the screen game's there. If the defensive line is kicking the offensive line's ass all day, usually they can't run.
We're the fortress of the castle. You know what I mean?
100%.
You knock down our walls,
Yeah. So I mean,
it's simple.
I mean,
and I feel like Toronto, we shut down Andrew Harris. Beth Thompson, he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just like that's a feel good moment right there.
That was definitely. I think that was a game that kind of circled things up for us for sure. 100% you did.
Nah, yeah.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, like, but honestly, there's been a lot of games that I can genuinely say we've been proud of on defense. Yeah, I was about to say, there's definitely some games that we've been proud of, man. The first Hamilton game was.
Hamilton was a good game.
It's just hard. I feel like it's hard to remember because it's like, man, we just haven't had the amount of success that we all kind of expect out of all the work that we've put in. That it's hard to kind of isolate one thought like that.
Do you find it kind of? Forgive me, this is maybe a dark question, but like, do you find it blends together more based on losses than wins? Like, if we won more, you'd have more clarity. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think, you know, the good things that you do in certain games, when you lose, you don't see them. And it goes hand in hand. The bad things that you do in games that you win, you don't see the bad things as much either. Right? So it's you know, it's been a tough year in that sense, where it's like, you know, you don't see some of the good things that you are doing, but it's you know, that kind of goes with the territory. You kind of have to put that microscope in and try to find the faults, find the chips. Yeah.
I'll say it's easy to enjoy the good times, and it's also easy to forget the bad times.
That makes sense.
So it's because I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't remember our losses. I just know how many we lost. And I try to erase it so like it doesn't carry over into the next game, you know?
Yep.
And it's one of those times where it's just like, do you understand? Like, I'm asking myself, do you understand like what's at stake, you know? If you do, then you'll forget it. You know, so that's how I carry it.
I don't know. I feel like there's been a big shift. I mean, it's easy for me to kind of say it from an outside perspective, thinking about like how the team's changed offensively, but like with the coaching change and everything, like how does that affect you guys? Is that like an overall leadership thing from a head coaching standpoint, or does it just kind of not affect you?
I feel like it didn't affect us really. I mean, one thing, because it was Dice.
Yeah.
Like, we know Dice.
Yeah.
Like, everybody knows Dice. Everybody knows he's put your foot down, Dice.
Yeah, for sure. I think.
You know what I mean?
I think Dice is just a genuine leader, man.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, not to knock anybody that was here or anything that was gone on in the past, but I think there was kind of a little bit of lax in some leadership in certain aspects. And I think, you know, these past couple weeks, just to get the team in unison and to have a team kind of beating at the same pulse, Dice has had that ability to do that pretty quick. And I think that is an attribute to not only just him being who he is, but him being here and already establishing some of that trust in the players that, you know, have been here and been around him already. He's definitely earned that respect from the jump. So I think, yeah, the past couple of weeks is just, I think, in a sense, we've all kind of had a little bit of a recharge, a little bit of a refocus, and a little bit of a refresh. I think it's just another opportunity I think we all kind of see it as another opportunity to just prove ourselves, man, and go out there and work not only for ourselves but for our teammates, and now for Coach Dice, that I think he has tons of respect in the locker room and tons of respect amongst everybody in this league, and just what he brings to the table and how he's led us so far in the situation. I think it's kind of everybody's just rallied behind that.
I'll say it's easy to trust a coach that's been there before. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah. He's been there before. So, like, he knows how to handle this situation. He's handled it well. We won our first one with him.
With like half your players.
Yeah. So
almost literally.
You can tell guys want to play for Dice and they want to play harder.
For sure. Yeah.
And you see it in the locker room. You see it on the practice field. You see it in the games that he's just coached.
So now, staying on the locker room, because this is something I've heard consistently from everybody, and we just shot a podcast previous to this, and they mentioned it, where it's like our locker room is not a reflection of our record. Like, our locker room's so much better than our record, and everyone has talked about that. And like last year, kind of a different story. Just again, a lot of injuries, a lot of guys coming in and out. But football stupid, outside looking in, I walk into our locker room and it's like, that's just a bunch of bad motherfuckers who are very good at their job and are playing at the highest level. And it's like, you look at every position group and it's like, okay, here's all the money you want. Who are you taking from the league to put on our team? And it's like, nah, we're good. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no spot where I'm like, oh, you know what? Like, I don't think we have good enough receivers, or I don't think our DBs are strong enough. And it's like, we have Patrick Levels and Money Hunter, we have Jalen Acklin, we have Nate Bahar. What the f*** I want to change? Like,
no, I definitely think our locker room is a lot better than our record. I don't think anybody in our locker room would believe our record if you were to tell it to us before the season started. I don't think, going into the season, I didn't think that we would be facing as many obstacles as we have this year. But, it kind of just goes back to what I said earlier of just the guys that we do have in the locker room, man. I don't think we have an ounce of quit in us, man. I really don't think that anybody has thrown the towel in per se when, it's been, I think since week 8 or 9 we've been talking about we still have a chance. And, here we are we have two games left and we're still,
19.
we're still, chomping at the bit to try and go hard and get a dub 100%. So, I think at the end of the day, man, as crazy as it can be, this could be a wild story that we can all look back on and laugh at. Because all you have to do is make it to the playoffs.
Behind the R, I know that.
That's all you have to do is make it to the show. So, it's still in our hands.
It's possible.
Might not look pretty.
I was saying before the game, I was talking to the O-line and D-line, and it was something I was reading, man. And I kind of twisted it myself, and I basically said to them, I was saying, you have to believe you can, and you will. But if you believe you can't, you won't.
Mm-hmm.
And the way our O-line played, the way our D-line played, like you said, it's our locker room. The way our DBs played, the way our receivers played, our locker room, we have some shit in our locker room.
For sure.
And it's slowly but surely unpeeling this and unraveling itself. We're like a piece of candy in the heat right now. You leave a piece of candy in the heat, it's going to melt to the plastic. We're unraveling that plastic, but it's taking us a while to get that plastic off of that candy. But once you get that candy out of there and you actually pop it in your mouth, that flavor's still there. That flavor is still there.
That boy be coming in with the quotes.
No. You know what I mean?
That boy got the spice.
It's just a matter of time.
Keeps you guys so motivated. Like, I'll be very, very transparent with you guys. I might edit myself out of this podcast with this one, but like, about this same time last year, we were a very similar record, and I just remember like, you're putting in, like I worked 65 hours last week. I'm fucking exhausted. I'm sick of filming us lose, and it is emotionally taxing as a mother to do week after week after week. And I'm not putting my body on the line.
We respect you for that too, yo.
But my question is like, I mean, I love my job. I love this. I love what I do. Like, I want to be anywhere else. And I'd imagine it's a similar kind of motivation for you guys, but different in the sense that, like, you know, we were talking before, it's like, this is how you feed your family. And so, like, you have, like, a next level of motivation to hit that field and try and win every single game. Whereas, like, I think it's easy if you're just a fan or watching on TV, you're like, you have 2 games left, the chances are X amount of percentage. It's like, just like wrap up the season, whatever. Try and leave the season without any injuries, and that's it. But like, I feel like I haven't seen that mentality at all. Certainly not this season, where it's like you're going into every game like you're gonna win, like you have every chance in the world to make the playoffs, and there's no wavering there. And so, very long way to ask, like, how do you stay positive and motivated and hit the field with that kind of aggression and that belief in yourself and the people around you to win out? Because it's like, again, like I said, like, I'll hit points where I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this again. Like, I don't want to do this for another season, but I still come back every fucking week, and I'm just like, there's no place I'd rather be. Like, is it something kind of similar?
I mean, there's definitely days that are harder to come to work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you're in a losing situation, it's losing environment. Sometimes, you know, we've gone weeks where we haven't won games, and you know that's never easy. You know, checking your phone after every game and someone hitting you up with some fake enthusiasm to keep going. You know, it's tough. But at the same time, man, like, I think we have a group of guys that love to play football. And we have a group of guys that are prideful. They put pride in what we do. And at the end of the day, man, like, yeah, I think I know for me, it's bigger than us still fighting for a playoff spot. It's genuinely me fighting for my family. Me fighting for, you know, my legacy. It's me fighting for my team. It's me fighting for Benny. It's me fighting for Coach Dice. Me fighting for Zoe. Like, that's just how I see it. It's bigger than just a record or a win. Man, we're fighting for each other, man. Like,
you know, I saw something on Instagram on our Redblacks page, and this was early in the season. We lost a game, and we came back to practice the next week, and someone took a picture, and they were saying, it said something about all smiles or something like that. We were our best friends or something like that on social media, and someone said something like, you guys are so and so, like, whatever our record was at the time. Why are you guys laughing and smiling? Come on, man, we're brothers.
mm.
We're fighting for each other. Like, that is our motivation. Like, we're coming to work every day. This is us. This is what we do.
For sure.
This is us. We're not robots. We're not paid for higher. You know, like, this is our job, but this is what we do.
100%. And as much as in those hard times, you know, we might not want to come to work that day, man. I can tell you, honest to God, there's nothing else I'd rather be doing. You know what I'm saying?
I tell my wife all the time.
Work for what?
I tell my wife all the time. Like, I will switch with you any day. I will take a desk job. The way my body feeling right now, I will take a desk job any day.
And as soon as you get behind that desk, you're trying to put the cleats back on.
Man, you're trying to put the cleats back on. This is what we do.
Yeah.
That is our motivation. We chose this years ago.
For sure.
Years ago, when we signed that dotted line, we knew what we was getting ourselves into. We grew up watching this stuff. We knew there was injuries. We knew there were going to be losses. We knew there were going to be wins. Some more losses than wins. But we signed up for this. That's our motivation. Our motivation is the smell of that pigskin. That's the feel of your cleats under your feet. That's our motivation.
Man, that feeling, like you talked about, you know, the feeling of getting a sack, man. Feeling of winning a game, the feeling of winning championships.
Over.
You know what I mean? Those are feelings that can't be replicated. Man talks about a drug. There's no drug that replicates that feeling of winning a Grey Cup.
Man.
You know what I mean? There's no drug that replicates the feeling of hearing fans screaming after you sack their quarterback. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna pull my Marshawn Lynch right now on the camera. I'm gonna be like, oh, you're gonna want that feeling over and over and over and over again.
For sure.
And then once you get it again, you're gonna want it over and over and over and over again.
So we talked about this before. Do you think that's a competitive nature, or do you think that's mental illness?
Bit of
Yes.
both.
So
You gotta be a little loopy.
like,
You gotta be a little loopy. You gotta be a little loopy to
So
play.
I agree, and we were talking before off camera, and I said, like, I'm mentally ill to love my job as much as I do, and to think about my job as much as I think about my job. And what you were just saying is fascinating to me, because it's like, for what I do, I can get the best shot of you getting a sack, humanly imaginable. Put it on TSN, put it on ESPN, whatever. I'll find something I don't like about it that I can improve upon.
Sure.
And all I'm gonna do is try and get that next opportunity so I can get the better shot that checks those boxes, and then I'm gonna find something.
But that's a measure of greatness, though. You know, I know my girl, she gets on me all the time, you know, because I'm such a hard critic of myself sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I'll be up. It doesn't matter what time the film is uploaded. I'll be up till 5:30, 6 o'clock after a game, because I won't be able to sleep. I have to watch it.
Sure.
She's like, yo, like, why can't you just, you know, put it down, like, watch it? I'm like, no, like, I have to watch this film, like, and
There's
I'll be
a
watching it.
lot
I'm like,
I can get
damn,
better
like,
at. There's
you know
a
what I mean?
lot
Like,
I
why
can
did
get
I?
better
And
at.
she's just like, yo, like, that wasn't even that bad. The ball was like over there, but I'm like, yo, like, I'm a toughest critic. It's like, yo, you have to give yourself like more credit sometimes. It's like, nah, like, no, that's not how this works. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. That is how
you should never be comfortable.
For sure.
You should never be comfortable with the last game that you had.
100%.
Because nobody has football is not a perfect sport. Nobody has a perfect game. I don't care what they talk about quarterbacks throwing a perfect game. No. You didn't throw a perfect game.
There was a better read somewhere.
There was a better read somewhere.
You know what I mean? There's a better drop back.
You could have scrambled and got those extra 5 yards that you needed. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was good at that moment, but it wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
Nobody has this is not a perfect game.
I just love the work ethic behind you guys. And like, I get it. I love it. It's entertaining. I wish fans got more insight into it, which hopefully this like helps with. The last thing I want to ask you about, because I wasn't even supposed to be doing this podcast, so there's that. The last thing I want to ask you about is like off the field, be it post-win or anything, like I want to know what like you look forward to the most after a win. Like for me, I've learned it's the bus. I mean, like I've been lucky. I got the bus ride home from Toronto. I believe I was on Party Bus, where she and crew partied the entire way home nonstop.
I didn't make that bus.
I was on that bus.
It was great. And then the last bus, like coming home from Montreal on Thanksgiving, it's just like I was on the French bus, it seemed, and they were just singing French music as loud as they could, like French love songs and stuff. And it was just like, there's something about that vibe to me that's like, I want that as much as I want like a post locker room speech from Dice, talking about how he hit a motherfucker in the face. Like, that's what I look forward to. It's just that genuine, sincere happiness where you're just like, oh, everything's cool in the world. Like this is a great place to be, and like no one's gonna see that. Like that's not shit from behind the arm. That's like experiential stuff in life, and like that's what I kind of look forward to. I'm curious about the two of you. Like, is there a specific moment, an interaction, a conversation? Is it a FaceTime with your kids or something like that? Like, what is it that is that moment for you after a win?
I like to say, like, just the overall love for the team, you know what I mean? Like, just, you get on social media, the Redblacks win, blah, 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 this, and that. And then it's just like, because just based off of the season that we had, there's some light, man. There's some light. It's like, oh, we are out here. We're still fighting. Everybody sees us. Not, oh, we're already better than we were last year. That's the, and then just us being in the locker room, man. Like when everybody's happy, everybody's trying to figure out what the plans are after everybody gets dressed and what's the plans of the night and everything. Is just the camaraderie in the locker room after a win, man. It's one of those. Just the camaraderie from the social media to the locker room.
I think it's just that calm down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, bro, you run with so much adrenaline after a game, and it's like, you know, win, lose, or draw, like that feeling of just like coming down and kind of like doing it with your teammates a little bit is like, it's like, okay, if we win and we're coming down, we're still coming up. You know what I mean? Like, we're still celebrating, we're still, you know, after a loss, it's like sometimes, man, you just sit in your locker and it's just like, and it's like a weird feeling almost. Like you'll see some guys, they'll dress up and get out of there quick. You'll see some guys that are just sitting in their locker, sulking, quiet as shit. It's like, obviously those aren't the moments that you necessarily look forward to, but it's that feeling of just like, man, football is the type of sport where you practice freaking 30 times more than you play. You know what I mean? Like, you play 18 games in a regular season. Like, game days aren't, for one, they're not promised, and like, you put a lot of work into them, you know? That come down of like, okay, you know, all of this was worth it. All of it went down.
Week.
Man, our whole team held it down.
The little dings
You'll
that
think
you
about,
got.
you know, that play that Sherrod made. You'll think about that play that Blue made, that Avery made, that Matt made, you know, like whoever made. And it's just like, yo, that was a sick ass play. Yeah. You know, like, damn, he did that. You know what I'm saying?
And you get to reminisce,
for
man.
sure. You kind of, it's that time to just kind of like, okay, what really just happened? You know, like, that's kind of like that breakdown for me, you know, like, I enjoy that for sure. Win, lose, or draw, it's like just that little bit of like reflection. It's just like, that come down after the game for sure.
It's definitely like a zen moment. It's a zen moment to where we were like literally going back on what we just did. Like, we know what we just did, whether it, like you said, win, lose, or draw. But we try to look at the ups and we look at the downs too. Like he said, we are our own worst critics, and I don't know no other athlete that won't be their own worst critic. Because if you're not, then you're not going to be great. And we just feel that whether win, lose, or draw. Like, we just feel like we have to talk about that. Like he said, he can't go to sleep until he watched the film. We feel that. Like, it's a great come down whether it's either one. It's a great come down because it's like, now we know what we did wrong. Let's go fix that if we lost.
For sure.
We know what we did when we win. Now let's build on that.
I think that's the perfect way to end this. So we'll end it there.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, boys.
No doubt.